Here we are, back where it all started. We are at... We've done a little 9k run on Anglesey Coastal Path. There's Mrs. Jacko, and we've been reliving, this was part of day 3 of the Ring of Fire, the last day, and it is beautiful here. As you can see, beautiful. It's a lot cooler. It was about 25 degrees when we were here in September. We're going for a cold dip in the sea, because when you see the sea you have to go in it. But it's been nice to be back to do a little running on that coastal path. Bits of it I couldn't remember for the life of me. I was like, if you hadn't have told me we did this, I wouldn't believe that we'd actually done this. But then other bits, fond memories, some bits terrible memories, and other bits just can't even remember. But yeah, we're gonna get in the sea, get cold, and then we'll share part 2 of the reflections, having actually been back here and visited the Ring of Fire, where it all ended. Well, this is part of day 3, and beautiful part of the world. Yeah, some interesting reflections for you once we've had this dip and got dry and back inside. We'll see you in the water. Get warm, get warm, get warm from the cold. We'll see you for some reflections. Maybe in the camper van above. What do you reckon, Mrs. J?
Well, once we've been and done some essential ablutions.
That was today's wash in Mother Nature's bath. Right, we'll see you in the caravan of love for the reflections part 2. Here we are, so we're back in the camper van. We got a little bit warm after that cold dip, and we're actually back at where we stayed for the 3 days of the Ring of Fire, which was back in September. So like 3 months ago is how long it's been. But we're back. This is literally where we were sleeping, on my sister's front lawn, let's call it. And you can see the Snowdon Mountains. Well, probably not for me. I'm going to take you out to be able to see it. Look, I'll show you. We give you a little view. The Welsh Mountains, Snowdonia. This is how little it's coming. Let's have we'll fast forward this bit. There we go. Now, oh, hiccups. Now we're talking Welsh Mountains. So yes, the beautiful Snowdonia Mountains with a backdrop of the Ring of Fire, that 135-mile ultramarathon that happened 3 months ago in the beginning of September. And we've been back reliving and re-walking and re-running some of the route, and it's been bringing some memories back. Interestingly, some parts of where we were running, I was, like I said to Mrs. Jack, I swear on my life I've never been here before. Like, if you weren't telling me we had done this on the route, I wouldn't have believed it, or I just literally couldn't remember some parts of it. Other parts of it made us laugh, other parts of us made us want to cry again. But the point of coming back to reflect is a little bit to give some practical advice in this video. So this is a part 2. In part 1, and I'll try and put somewhere probably on that side maybe, the link to the part 1 video, which was reflections from doing my first ever multi-day ultramarathon event, which was the Ring of Fire. That was a 3-day event, and there was some looking like as wide as possible things that I wish I knew and want to give advice to anyone else. Video is more about the practical elements of this part 2. What are some of the real practical things that you can do, whether you're doing any type of running or endurance event, whether it's a multi-day event, or whether it's a marathon, whether it's an ultra marathon, or your first half marathon or something. There's going to be some things in here that are going to potentially help you with your endurance event endeavors. If you haven't yet subscribed, do the old subscriber thing. We got past 1,000 the other week. Woo! Big time. No, so if you appreciate some of the insights, there's a lot of, I try to put a lot of tutorials on it. We do some live sessions, and you know, most of which are based around trying to help us improve our breathing. And then I'll also, like in these types of blog or vlog style videos, share a little bit of practical advice from just my personal experience. So to say, with this video, there's no sort of medical advice or specific guidance. This is some of the things that I learned along trying to take on my first ever multi-day ultra marathon event, and some of the things that people had told me to do beforehand, and we'll get into that. It's going to be one of my bits of advice to speak to other people in this lesson. So in no particular order, or maybe there is an order of like literally what brings to mind first and foremost is things swell, and particularly your feet. I've got my toe spacers on today. Your feet swell, and that is something, probably if you're doing a one-day event, and if you're just doing a marathon or something like that, you're probably not going to have that as an issue. But if you're doing some multi-day events, your feet are going to swell up. That was some advice that I got from someone else that had done a number of multi-day endurance events beforehand. I was asking him for advice, and one thing he said that I wasn't able to do but would have been really useful on, particularly on day 3, was get a pair of shoes, the same as your normal running shoes you've been running in, but get another pair one size bigger, that you use on like day 2 or 3 when you feel like your feet have well, you'll get to the point where you're like, it feels uncomfortable to have my feet in these normal shoes because my feet feel bigger than they used to be or normally would be. So there's a very practical thing you can do. I didn't have chance to get mine. I got this advice too late to be able to order my pair to have them delivered and arrive in time, so I stuck with the one pair. So I would recommend people do that, because I did struggle with that on particularly on day 3. I'd also, if you can see on my on this toe, kicked a big rock on the first day and eventually lost the nail, and that was causing me some jip, and having some extra space with a slightly bigger pair of shoes for the final day would have been massively helpful once things had swollen up. A lot of people also either know I like Vivo barefoots, or just simply asking like, what shoes were you running in? What do you like to run in the best? These are literally the pair that I ran in. They're the Primus Trail soft ground, so they have like some good grip for the trail, off-road type of running. You've got a wider shoebox anyway, so you've got a bit more space for those toes, which is useful, but you've got no cushioning at all. That helps us feel very connected to the floor, but obviously it's something you need to get used to. So I wouldn't go out and run in these if you've never ran in a minimalistic style shoe before. Build up gradually. I had some running sessions, some technique work with Ben. He's one of the Vivo barefoot coaches, and you can actually go and have a session with him down in London in the store there, and he'll do an analysis on your running with all the cameras on a treadmill and everything. It's pretty cool, and that massively helped. But yeah, I absolutely love these, and yeah, it's being able to get a size 1 bigger for day 3 as well would have been helpful. Other foot related things, having some, this is like the stretchy kinesthetic tape, having some of this style tape, so that I used it once my toe was feeling bad, and on day 3 in the morning. I've talked quite a lot about how bad that was, just generally the whole body and everything. And what I did was literally put a bit of tape around the whole toe, yeah, and then literally, you know, did that for every single toe. So each toe was wrapped with a little bit of the stretchy kinesilic tape. I used like rock tape. They don't sponsor me or anything like that, they're just a good brand. Taped every single toe individually. What that meant was, as the feet were like continuing to swell a little bit, and you know, when you haven't got much more space because you didn't get your size bigger shoe, just stopping them from rubbing against each other. And that was massively helpful. And I was like, I wish I'd done that on day 1, right at the start, even though on day 1 I didn't have a problem with the feet. And I wish I'd done that on day 2 as well, and it just got me stayed in a slightly, if you're doing a multi-day event, that is definitely something I will do next time. Just a little bit of KT tape around each of those toes, just to have them individual, and just to give them some non-rubbing action to try. And I know a lot of people will suffer with a lot of blisters a lot of the time. I definitely noticed with the Vivos having more space in that toe box just in general. I wasn't struggling with blisters at all or anything as much as compared to other people. So there you go. I think on that, I was the only person wearing barefoot shoes that I can recall or remember. There was 106 people started, 53 finished. There was only a 50% success rate, but everyone that was wearing Vivos, i.e. me, we did complete it. Other little tip for you, this is another 100%er, bandana. Now it has been proven, scientifically proven, 100% of the people that took on the 135 mile, 216 kilometer ultramarathon that were wearing a bandana, 100% of them completed it. The rest of the field was 50%, only completed it 50%. That was me though. The scientific study event is one. I was the only one wearing a bandana, but I did do it. Anyway, that's a freebie for you. You can keep that, and you can decide whether you think that is scientific or not. Anyway, back to more serious stuff. So with the feet, tape each of the toes. That's going to be one recommendation. I'm definitely going to do it again. Get a shoe that you're really comfortable in. Obviously, you will have been doing a lot of your training in it. And then if you're doing a multi-day event, get a shoe. Get the same pair but just one size bigger for day 2 or 3, because you're probably going to need it when those feet swell up. Now at this point, I do want to say the bit about the bigger shoes I wasn't able to actually do, but it was advice I'd got from someone a week before I was going to start basically, and he gave me some other bits of advice that were really helpful, that I'm obviously going to share with you within this, and that in itself is a good bit of advice. Find out people that you know, friends of friends or friends of friends of friends, who've done similar events to what you're doing, or even better still, someone that's done the actual event you're going to do. So on day 1, as we were running, I was talking to the people like that had done it before. Loads of people had done it before and failed. A couple of people had done it before and succeeded. I was like asking them like just for advice, things to think about, things to do. Now if a few months before I'd have spoken to those people and I would have spoke to that guy that had said about the bigger shoes, I'd be able to have then bought a bigger pair of shoes for day 2 and 3 and have them with me. So seek advice from people that have done stuff like what you want to do, and even better still, that have done the exact event you're about to take on, and try to do that like a few weeks or a few months ideally beforehand, so any advice they give you, you can actually do something about it. Right, other practical bits then. Hydration. This is a hydration sachet that I used and loved, got introduced again. This is by someone else that I struggled a lot with, not loads, but I did struggle on longer runs over like 30k whenever I did marathon distance. Would struggle with cramps a little bit. So I was, speaking to people that had done these types of things, and one person recommended Element hydration salts. The lemon habanero is literally spicy and blow your head off. So that's the session I've got. Because be warned, if you like spice, then great. But they do some other flavors where they do natural flavor. They do lemon, citrus lemon, which is beautiful, and then my favorite, watermelon, which is basically how I would shout watermelon during the Ring of Fire. But yeah, I did not, even though we did 135 miles, normally after one marathon or towards the back end of one marathon, I'm starting to struggle with cramps around adductors, hamstring, calf. I didn't have 1 ounce or one little smidge of the sign or any signs of cramp. Mwah. And I put that down to these babies. So massively thankful. Again, I'm not sponsored by LMNT. They just produce a great product, and I would highly, highly, highly recommend it. I would just be careful on the lemon habanero. I wouldn't, I personally wouldn't have them. I put one in thinking it was just going to be some sort of like, you know, lemony. The other citrus one was lovely, so chucked the habanero in and was like, it's like basically it's spicy habaneros is chilies, isn't it? Whose idea was that? Anyway, they are fantastic product to help you with your cramp. Whilst we're on the topic of like putting things in, food is a really interesting one. The obvious ones are things that a lot of people you have heard already, of like, stick to things you're comfortable with that you've used in training. I never use gels because I don't like all the crap in them and all the how it makes your tongue feel. I never use gels, so I didn't use gels during the run itself. And stuck as close as I could to like proper foods and things, because that's what I was used to doing. I really like the Naked energy bars, but it doesn't matter what necessarily those specific things that I use. But one thing, a piece of advice I was given, and it definitely came true, was that you'll be surprised at what your hunger is like and what your taste buds are like. And you get to the point with these really long ultra day events where it can be difficult once you finish to eat. You might not feel hungry, so trying to get some food in whilst you're running on the latter stages of your run, or even all the way through, but starting to think about fueling for your next day towards the last sort of 10k of the current day that you're on, and having some options in your food bag or with your support team, and for when you finish, of stuff that's just going to be easy for you to get down. And at that point it probably really is, and I didn't necessarily think that this would be the case, but like, the calories matter and you just need to get something down you. I had this like really nice beef stew that I'd absolutely love normally on any other normal day of the week, and it was like trying to eat that down was just like hard work, and it was almost like too hard for me to do. And so having some other options is really important. And with that being said, other options and like just easier things. So even if you like, so I was eating more sort of like some sweet cakes and things and nibbles that you get at the checkpoints, and sweets, and there were some like brownies that it was just, I needed just something. And yes, I can feel like I can eat that. So do think about that. Having options is going to be really important, because your taste buds and what you want to eat or desire to eat or able to eat might be a little bit outside what your normal is when you're going through these like multi-day events. These multi-day events, like as I found, are far more stressful than you could sort of possibly imagine. So my last 2 bits of advice are going to be to help you with that level of like stress that goes on. Okay, so the first thing is going to be like your support crew, and having a support team. Now you have to check whether you're allowed any support. With the Ring of Fire, they encourage it, and I massively encourage it, and I couldn't have done it without my support team. But you need to be careful that take for example the Dragon's Back, another one in you go from North Wales to South Wales. It's a 6-day event. It's double the day, twice as many days and double the distance. That seems to be the toughest mountain race in the world, and they don't let you get any help, no support to you, no nothing. Like, someone can't even just leave a bottle of water by the fence post at the next field and you to pick it up. You're not allowed any support or any help whatsoever, and that is a massive game changer. And I know for me that is not for me. It's actually one of the reasons why I've decided that isn't an event that I want to go and do. It was something I thought I wanted to do because of the terrain and what it was about, but that changes everything for me. So I would suggest, particularly if it's your first one, make sure the event allows, like, make sure you enter an event that you've checked that you're allowed to have support and a support crew, and they can meet you at different points, and plan that out where they're going to meet you and stuff throughout the event. And give them your spare shoes that are slightly bigger, give them your tape to be able to add some more tape to your toes if you need to, give them your hydration sachets, give them different types, and make sure they've got different types of foods and different options for you to have, so you've got a bit of a selection, because you, like I say, you might not know what you want to have. But check you can have one, and then get a few people sorted for you, and because you will not just massively thank them. If you're anything like I found, it was like totally reliant on them, and that was a massive roller coaster, and it took away, I mean, it was very stressful, but it took away some of that. If I was completely on my own, I definitely wouldn't have been able to do it, but I don't know if mentally I'd have been able to cope with it either. So get a support team. You're not just going to want them, you're going to need them. One thing that your support team might be able to help you out with is some of the navigation. Now, my Garmin is a Forerunner. My Garmin is a Forerunner 45. Battery on it lasts 8 hours. Day 1 was 8.5 hours. 9 hours. Day 2 was 17 hours 45 minutes. So it didn't even make half of day 2. Run out of battery. So, and I know a lot of people will have the route on their Garmin. I had the route on my phone, on my iPhone that I'm filming off now, on my iPhone, downloaded to OS Maps. So the route's on there, and then I've got an iPhone 12. That on airplane mode, the GPS still tracks you, even though it's on airplane mode. Yes, GPS still tracks you even when you're on airplane mode, and the battery life when you're on airplane mode is insane. So my battery, I was not even down to 50% after running for 17 hours 45 minutes and using my phone for some navigation. So I definitely recommend that. If your watch will last longer and have navigation, great, have that, but download the route to your phone, get iOS Maps, and put your phone on airplane mode, and I guarantee you the battery life of that bad boy on airplane mode is going to be fantastic, and that is going to be a lifesaver. Because if you're anything like what our route was, you if you took a bit of a wrong turn and you lost 5 or 10 minutes, that could be you not making the next checkpoint in time. That's how tight and strict and tough the different checkpoints were. So that's a lifesaver, and that's a good tip. Get your iPhone on airplane mode. The battery life will last for literally well over a day. Surprising, but true. You heard it here first from Jackal. Okay, my last piece of advice, and this is practical for your training. This doesn't count if you're not doing a multi-day event, but if you're doing a multi-day event and looking at the timings of it, the Ring of Fire meant that the way it was set up, it meant that you finished late at night, 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night, and then you were starting again at 6 a.m. in the morning, which meant like a 4:30 get up. Your time window to being squeezed was very small, so your time to sleep and just your ability to sleep when you're so stressed and knackered and not used to it is massively challenging, and something that I wasn't prepared for. I talked a bit about this in that part 1. Now, I'm not recommending or suggesting that you need to go and do a crazy run till late at night and then do something crazy in the morning again, but there would be some benefit, and I wish I'd have done this with foresight. I wish I'd have done this in that I'd done some smaller runs over a weekend. They might just be 10 or 15k, but just choosing to do it so that I finished at, say, 9, 10 o'clock at night, have the ice bath that I wanted to have, which was massively helpful. I love an ice bath, and that was massively helpful. Don't stay in too long, otherwise you're already stressed from the run, and then you're shivering like mad, and then that would cause me a bit of a problem on the Ring of Fire. But I did benefit from having an ice bath. So in training, do like a 10k late at night, finish at 10, have an ice bath, try and have something to eat, and then go to bed, and see how you manage to sleep. get up early, 4:30, 5 is what I needed to do, really get up at 4:30, and then just do another 10k at like 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, just to get used to that different shift and time frame, not stressing you so you're doing like a marathon followed by another double marathon or anything like you're going to have to on your potential actually event. But you might have a few days back to back that like 40, 50, 60, 70k. Then in training, do a 10k and a 10k back to back, but with a very small window to sleep, and just practice doing what you think you're going to do for your event. So I would have practiced finishing at 10, having an ice bath, and then getting up at 4:30 to go again at sort of 5:30, something like that. That was what I was going to have to do during the Ring of Fire, and my body wasn't ready and prepared to be able to do that. And so I think, don't make it so crazy stressful in training, but you can practice some of the logistics of what's it like to finish running late at night, what's it like to run in the dark with the head torch, do everything safely, but what's it like to have an ice bath and then go to sleep after that, and like, how well do I sleep? Is my sleep disrupted because of having ran late at night and late at night? But that's what you're going to have to do on these multi-day events. And then what was it like getting up in the morning to then go again? So just replicating part of what you're going to have to do in the event that I found quite challenging and stressful, and partly because I'd not practiced being able to do that. And I'm not saying do that for weeks on end. You might just, in a 3-month period, I might do that like once or twice, is what I would be preparing for my next event. What my next event will be, we shall say. We've got some smaller little ones coming up potentially, but nothing big announced yet. But I would definitely like to do some more events. I might even like to do my own little personal challenge potentially. If I do that, I've got an idea for one. I'm not going to say it because it's a bit out there, but if I do that, it is pretty pretty big or pretty wacky or pretty out there. It would take months to be able to do. It's not a few days. It would potentially be a few months. So we will see, because that has different logistical nightmares and problems to come with it. I hope you found this helpful. If you have, please do click like or share it with someone that you might know is going to be taking part in an ultra event. Or if you've got your own, some things you think I've missed out, or things that you think I would find helpful or other people would find helpful, please put them in the comments below. I will look forward to reading those and hearing what advice other people and experiences you have all had as well. And then if you've got any events you're coming up to do in this next year, I would love to hear what they are and support you in any way that I can to do those. That would be really cool. So let us know in the comments any events that you're going to do. And then from me, a couple of things, and the links will be in the description below. Date for your diary, 21st of January is going to be a private screening of the documentary Between Breaths. That is the documentary of the 3-day ultramarathon we did around here, around Anglesey, all caught on camera. Thank you to the sponsors of that, so Vivo, Barefoot and Oxygen Advantage supported the making of that documentary, so massive thank you to them. It's going to be shown a private screening we've hired a little private cinema, the Broadway Cinema in Nottingham, so anyone that's around the Nottingham area, there's a link below. You need to book your ticket because there's only 50 spaces, but it's free. All we ask is, or all we recommend is, we would appreciate a donation to the Petals charity, which was the charity that I was doing the event for. But the event itself is absolutely free to come and watch. That we're going to have a breathwork session afterwards, a Q&A, but we'll watch the 30-minute documentary together. I've only seen a few little edits. I've not seen the whole thing at all. Looking forward to seeing that. 21st of January, put it in your diary. Come and join me, friends, family. We're going to watch it all together, and then we'll do a breathwork session together, and then we're going to have a raffle to win a few prizes, one of which is going to be your own pair of Vivo Barefoots is going to be available for the raffle, and hopefully we'll raise a little bit of money for charity within that raffle, and any donations that people are able to make on the day. If you do want to buy a pair of Vivos, there'll be a link below for a code, Jacko10, to get yourself 10% off. I do love them. They're the only shoes that I wear for either running or anything. They've got all different styles of shoes, and I now don't own another pair of shoes. That's how much I do love them. That's genuine, that's legit. Yeah, and then final thing, Pro Breathwork. We've upgraded to a brand new platform. I couldn't be happier with it. There were things that the old app wasn't able to do and wasn't able to be sorted, and so just being honest, I was like, right, it needs to be better than this. And so and I know a lot of you loved it already, but it's yeah, it's better than this now. So if you look at the link below, www.probreathwork.com, you can now access all of the online courses, and those courses themselves have been upgraded. The foundations course is still free. I've also made the stress and anxiety course completely free, just because I think it's the right thing to do for, you know, breath work, and breath training can be a great tool for people that are struggling with stress and anxiety. So I wanted to make it free so it's easy for you to do. The links are below. It's optimized for mobile. There is going to be a new app for it as well. It's just going to take a couple of weeks for that to come out, but it is all there and all available. And I would love you to check out some of the brand new courses and the updated courses. 2 of them, the foundations and the stress and anxiety, are free to access. So please go and make use of those free courses, because as a lot of people report back, it literally is life-changing when you change the way that you breathe to improve the way you think, feel, move and perform. So check out the links below, get connected in the comments. I look forward to hearing from you, and until next time, keep it nasal.